Welcome to the first episode of Opinion Overload. I almost forgot the name of my own series, where I have you guys send me in your music hot takes, your unpopular opinions, and I talk about them and give my opinion about your unpopular opinions and music takes. Yes, this series is inspired by Anthony Fantano, The Needle Drops Let's Argue, but I'm not trying to directly rip him off. I'm taking inspiration from him because I thought this seemed like a lot of fun and I wanted to do it, so I think it's going to be cool. So if you think I'm ripping off Anthony intentionally, I'm not, so don't spam me with dislikes and don't get your little cronies to send me hate. Because it's happened in the past. Not with this kind of video, but way back in the past. It has happened before. So don't let it happen again, okay? Alright. Anyways, let's get on with the video, starting with the first opinion. MGK isn't a good musician and he's not pop punk. I honestly disagree with this claim for a various number of reasons, but the main thing I want to say is even if you don't think MGK is a good rapper or a good singer or a good musician or any of that, you have to admit the dude can write lyrics, the dude can rap, and the dude can sing if he really puts his heart into it. He can also play guitar, he can play drums, he can play piano, he acts, he writes, he directs. This dude does a lot of different things, so you could argue whether he's a good musician or not, but what you cannot deny is the man is hardworking, committed, and you can tell he really loves what he does. And he does a lot of different things too, which is something that cannot be said for a lot of other musicians in the music scene right now. This dude does everything, literally everything. And not only that, but he's so experimental with his music, like to the point where whenever you know that a new MGK project is coming out, you're not going to know what to expect from it. It could be a punk project, a rap project, a pop project. It could be anything. So, like I said, you could argue that he's a good or bad musician, but what you cannot deny is the man is hardworking, he is versatile, and he is indeed a very good musician. And I love his music personally, for those of you who don't know, although most of you probably do. I love his music. MGK is one of my favorite artists of all time. I take very, very much inspiration from him in my music. And yeah, so I disagree with that claim. I think MGK is a great musician, and I love how important he is to the music community. Now, the claim about him not being punk, I also disagree with that for a few reasons, but mainly because, like, just because somebody started off in a different genre, that doesn't mean that when they move to a different genre, they're not part of that genre. For example, MGK going from hip-hop to punk automatically means that he's not punk. He's just a rapper who is doing punk music now. Or say, like, I don't know, Taylor Swift going from country to pop. Just because she used to do country and now she does pop, that doesn't mean she's a pop artist. It just means she's a country artist who does pop now. I really do disagree with that because I feel like no matter who you are and what kind of music you do, you definitely belong in the genre you're doing, even if you end up switching genres over time. Like, that's kind of why I do a lot of different genres in my music, because I don't want to stay confined to one genre. So that way, if I go to another one, people aren't just going to be like, oh, well, he used to do this genre, but now he does this, so he's a poser, or he's trying too hard to be something he's not. And I feel like that's what a lot of people think for MGK, and it really does bother me because MGK, I feel like he can be a really, really good punk musician if he really tried. For example, Ticket to My Downfall was a great album in my opinion, and I feel like just because he used to be a rapper and he's doing punk now, doesn't mean he can't be punk. So that's how I feel about that. Playboi Carti sucks ass, his music is terrible. I agree very much. Playboi Carti is not a good artist at all. His music is very boring, predictable, convoluted for no reason. It's very lackluster, it's not unique at all. Every song he sounds either way too tired or way too energetic to the point where it just comes across as try-hard and overly predictably flamboyant. And yeah, Playboi Carti's music is not very good. I have not listened to any of his albums in full, but the songs I have heard are not very good. And also his lyrics are not very good at all. He cannot write good lyrics if he tried. I think maybe there are a few occasional glimpses of hope for Playboi Carti, but mostly not really. He's not a very good artist. I don't like his music, and I will never listen to one of his albums in full unless others were talking about it and praising it highly. Although, to be fair, people still do that, and I still don't listen to his music because I know that it's terrible. So, yeah, Playboi Carti sucks. I agree with that. Jay-Z is an average rapper at best, and I have no idea why he's so highly regarded. I kind of agree. I mean, I feel like the reason Jay-Z is so highly regarded is because a lot of people grew up listening to, you know, the era of hip-hop that Jay-Z is from. And I feel like they're just kind of biased when they say that he's a great rapper and that he's a huge, legendary, you know, rap god. But in my opinion, Jay-Z is painfully average. I listened to his album 444, and I actually kind of liked it. There were a few songs on there that really stood out to me, but past that, he's just so painfully average. Like, he's not really any different from any of the rappers that you hear, like, in the same era as him. Or, like, even in today's era, there are a lot of rappers... It is storming very hard. Holy crap, hold on. Sorry about that, it's storming pretty bad here, but... Yeah, as I was saying, I kind of agree. The dude is painfully average. He's put on a way higher pedestal than he really needs to be put on. And... Yeah... There's a lot of biased classic hip-hop fans out there, and I feel like they put him on way too high of a pedestal, so yeah, I kind of agree. Yeah, so it's actually the next day. It's almost 11 in the morning right now. I was gonna record the rest of my video last night, but it was storming pretty bad, so I kind of didn't want to get around to doing it because you guys would have just heard a bunch of storm noises in the background, and it would have just been overly distracting, especially because, you know, I have music in the background of my videos. So, yeah, sorry about that, but without any further ado, let's get back into the list. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. I feel like the transpirance of, or the transpiring of hyperpop punk will be a pretty interesting thing to hear. I haven't really listened to too much hyperpop to know what it, like, sounds like exactly, but I get sort of the picture that hyperpop sounds like really, like, aggressive, like, really energetic pop music, so thinking about that being mixed with, like, energetic pop punk, or, like, just slow-based pop punk should be pretty cool. I mean, when I hear hyper pop punk, I think of, like, Cobra Starship, or Metro Station, or, crap, what was that? What was the other band? The one that went, like, tonight, oh, Hot Shell Ray. Yeah, and I also think of Hot Shell Ray, so if those, like, really outdated bands are going to be coming back to, like, the scene and making new music, I'm pretty down for that. It's going to feel like the MySpace days all over again, but I'm pretty down for it, so yeah, I agree with this claim. Rapping fast does not equal rapping good at all. I mean, like, if you can rap fast, then you have some sort of talent, but, like, it doesn't, you're not really showing your talent if you're rapping fast, but not really saying anything, or, like, saying anything meaningful. You're kind of just throwing words together, and just rhyming things that sound cool, and words that sound cool, just to make, like, a verse, I guess. I mean... Yeah, like I said, if you are rapping fast, you have some sort of talent, but like I said, it doesn't really matter if you're not saying anything, because that doesn't show your talent, but if you're rapping fast, then you're actually saying something awesome. An example, Tech-9, Logic, Machine Gun Kelly on Breaking News, then yeah, maybe then rapping fast equals rapping good, but if you're not saying anything, and you're just rapping fast to sound cool, then yeah, it doesn't equal rapping good, so I agree with that. Travis Scott's best album is Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight. I actually haven't heard much of this album to be able to formulate an opinion on that. I've only heard Goosebumps and maybe another song that's off that album, but honestly, I haven't listened to a lot of Travis Scott. I have listened to Astroworld, which is a pretty awesome album, so I'm going to disagree with this, and I'm going to say that Astroworld is his best album, but I'm really only saying that because I haven't heard really any other Travis Scott music or albums or any of that. I've heard Goosebumps, I've heard some of his singles, but the only album I've really listened to by him is Astroworld, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that's his best album, so I disagree with this claim. Astroworld is his best. Damn by Kendrick is overrated. Yeah, I kind of agree. Damn is not a bad album by any means. I haven't listened to all of the songs off of Damn, but I've listened to, I think, a pretty good deal of them, and I would say that I definitely understand the hype surrounding this album, but I don't understand the overhype surrounding this album, because, yeah, it's a conscious hip-hop album, and it makes some good points, but it's not really anything that we haven't heard before. I mean, Logic's done it. Who else has done it? Logic's done it, Eminem's done it, NF has done it. A lot of other rappers have done it, so it's not really anything special. Like I said, this is a good album, and I do see the hype surrounding it, but I don't see the overhype surrounding it, because, yeah, a lot of other rappers have done the stuff that Kendrick has already done on Damn, or on his past records, so, yeah, I agree. Although I will say this, Humble and DNA are pretty awesome songs, but, you know, that's a little basic, because those are the two singles from the album, or the two most well-known songs. So, yeah, I agree, Damn is pretty overrated. Drake would not have been popular in the 90s. Yeah, I highly agree with that very much. The thing about Drake's music is that Drake has this modern feel to his music where he's basically just talking about, like, you know, girls and money and flexing and sadness over these, like, moody, melodramatic, sometimes mainstream sounding trap beats. So yeah, maybe there's some dancehall thrown in there, some pop, but it's really watered down dancehall, and the pop influences in his music are stuff we've heard many, many times before. So yeah, I don't think Drake would have been very popular in the 90s either. That's not to say I don't think Drake is a good musician. He does have some pretty catchy, and good songs, but most of his music just doesn't really strike me as anything interesting or anything relatively worth listening to more than once. So yeah, I agree. Drake would not have been popular in the 90s. That's why I think he's very popular today and that he's one of the most best-selling artists today, because his music has that modern feel. So yeah, I agree. The Death Grips suck. I actually have not listened to any Death Grips songs in my whole entire life, so I'm going to go ahead and listen to a Death Grips song, and I'm going to see how it sounds and see if I agree with this, and I will get back to you guys. Yeah, I agree. That song I just listened to was not very good. No. I'm not going to say what song I listened to because I don't want to get, hate spammed, but it was just really overblown and overproduced and over distorted hardcore hip hop that makes me feel like they're kind of a Walmart version of the Suicide Boys, which is a group that I actually have enjoyed. I've listened to a few of their songs and I like them, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Death Grips. That song that I listened to wasn't very good. Maybe I'll have to go back and listen to more of their music, but for now I stand my point, they're not very good, but I'll go back and listen to some of their other songs maybe later and see how I feel about them. But for now, yeah, I agree. The Death Grips are not very good. Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 is better than 90% of modern rap. Yeah, so I would have listened to them, but their songs are way too freaking long and I have no patience, so I'm gonna go ahead and skip this one. Sorry to whoever commented it, but I just don't have the patience to listen to them right now. So, yeah. Last Young Renegade is All Time Low's best album. Well, so I disagree with this claim to the highest extent possible, but here's what I will say. I do appreciate the motivation and the substance and the ambition that went into this album, because you can tell that All Time Low really wanted to do something different with this album and make it stand out, but unfortunately it's just really messy and bland and boring most of the time. And I don't hate this album because it's not a pop-punk album, I dislike it because it's not a very good album. Like I said, it's messy, it's overproduced, even for All Time Low. It's just not very good. It sounds like any boring mainstream pop band radio that we've heard many times before. There are a few songs on this album I do like. I do like the title track, I do like Dirty Laundry, I do like Good Times, I do like Drugs and Candy, and I also kind of like, what's that one song? Dark Side of Your Room. I like that song too, but other than that, yeah, I don't like this album, so I disagree, sorry. I actually enjoyed Confessions of a Dangerous Mind by Logic, even though the lyrics were sometimes questionable. Six killed it with the production, and Logic at times had some very fun flows on there. I don't think it's Logic's worst project to date. I agree with the fact that Six killed it with the production, and Logic at times had some very fun flows on there. I also highly agree with the fact that the lyrics were sometimes questionable, but other than that, I don't really know. I mean, let me think about this for a second. Okay, so yeah, while I do think it's Logic's worst project to date, it's actually grown on me quite a little bit. I mean, there are some fun songs on there, like the title track, Keanu Reeves, Mama Show Love with Cordae, Homicide with Eminem, Commando with G-Eazy. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Other than that, this album sucks, but it's grown on me quite a little bit, so I'm gonna give a hesitant agree. I'll hesitantly agree, but I mostly kind of disagree. Because obviously Six did kill it with the production. He's one of the best producers in the game, I feel like. And Logic did have a lot of fun flows and a lot of fun lyrics and a lot of fun styles, but I still think this is Logic's worst album to date. And I'm not a very huge fan of it, but like I said, it has grown on me quite a little bit. Modern pop punk is better than 80s to 90s pop punk. I definitely agree with that. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for that, but I do agree. Because, 80s to 90s pop punk was mainly just really fast-paced guitars with really fast-paced drums and really loud, energetic singing with, lyrics about, girls and, all that kind of stuff. But modern pop punk is incorporating new styles into the genre, like electronics and synths and trap and hip-hop and rap and R&B, and I think it's really cool. Pop punk is definitely a lot more creative today than it was the past few decades, so I will agree with this, because while I do like 80s, 90s pop punk bands like Green Day and Blink-182, I think that the newer bands are making pop punk more of an innovative genre and more of a unique and experimental genre. So, yeah, I definitely agree. Some of my favorite pop punk bands of the modern era are All Time Low, Waterparks, Pierce the Veil, Machine Gun Kelly, even though he's an artist, not really a band, but he has a live band, so it counts. Yeah, there's a lot of pop punk bands I like that I can't really think of right now. So yes, I agree with this claim. Last one, MGK doing pop punk is a great thing, and I think he could play a huge role in making it more well known and appreciated in the mainstream. I agree. Like I said in the first one, in the first claim, you can go ahead and argue that MGK might not be a true pop punk artist and that this is just going to be a one-time thing and that, he's not very good at what he does, but I do think that he could do a very good job at bringing pop punk, back into the mainstream and making it more well known and appreciated in the mainstream. And personally, I think his pop punk music is really good. It's not really anything unique and it's not really anything different. It's nostalgic pop punk at its finest. So, yes, I agree with this. I think MGK doing pop punk is a great thing, and I also do think that he could do a great job at a huge role in making it more well known and appreciated in the mainstream. Well, guys, that was my first episode of my brand new series, Opinion Overload. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave some opinions down below that you want me to answer in the next episode of this series, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. But yeah, that's it today, guys. So until the next one, my name is Zero, and I will see you guys then. Peace.